All right, so now that we've seen how we can hedge using a futures contract, what about hedging using an options contract? Remember that option contract gives you the right but not the obligation to either buy and sell. Specifically, the put option gives you the right but not the obligation to sell a particular commodity or sell an underlying futures contract. Not necessarily the commodity, but the underlying futures contract. And remember, essentially the way that a option works is it acts as almost like an insurance policy, where if you pay a premium and that is a set amount, or you pay your premium to say, I want the right to be able to engage or to take the short position in a futures contract for a put option. It gives you the right to engage in a short position if you choose to do so. So we talked about how the intrinsic value and the time value leads to the value of the option of an options contract. Of, say, a put option is going to be the premium of a put option is going to be dependent on whether or not you're in the money, at the money, out of the money, and or how much time is left in that contract, that time value aspect. So let's see how we can actually use a put option hedge for outputs. Now, the put option gives you the right but not the obligation to take a short position in the futures market at a specific predetermined price. And because we're dealing with the shorting the market, we're going to be dealing also with outputs. So if you're wanting to hedge something that you're selling, you're going to be using a put option. So the put option is that, something to note with the put option is that as the cash price increases, as the cash price decreases, the value options increases. Well, why is that the case? Remember, this gives you the right but not the obligation to sell at a specific price. So if the cash price is decreasing and the underlying futures price is decreasing, because typically the cash price and the futures price are going to decrease at the same time, if the cash and the futures prices are decreasing, it's making that put option more in the money because it gives you the right but not the obligation to sell. The lower that price gets, the lower that futures price gets, the further it is away from that strike price, meaning that it's a greater discrepancy between the futures price and the strike price, whereas that strike price is higher, the further in the money you get. So a change in the futures price is inversely related, which means it's opposite to a change in the put option value. So as future prices increase, the put option value decreases. As futures prices decrease, the value of a put option actually increases. So whenever futures prices fall, the value of the put option increases. Why is that important? Well, if we're selling a particular commodity and we engage in a put option hedge, we're worried about what? We're worried about prices decreasing. We're selling that commodity. We're worried about prices going down. So if prices begin to go down, but the value of a put option goes up, we're going to take what we gain off of that put option, apply that to the price of that commodity that we're selling, and we're going to offset our loss in the cash by a gain in the options contract. So let's kind of look at how this works out. So we have Calvin here. Calvin is a corn producer, and he is selling corn in a few months. The current cash price is $3.35. So he purchases a $3.50 in the money put option for 20 cents per bushel. So he is in the money, which means because this is a put option, that strike price is above the underlying futures price. So in this case, the futures price is currently $3.40. He purchases that $3.50 bushel strike price options contract, and he pays 20 cents per bushel for that particular commodity. So what happens if cash prices fall? Because that's what we're worried about here, right? We're worried about cash prices falling, futures prices falling in this particular example because we're selling that commodity. So the cash price falls to $3.15. So we sell it in the local market for $3.15 because that's what our cash price is. Meanwhile, the futures price falls to $3.20. Now, look back at what we set up here. If the futures prices fall, what is happening to the value of the option? Well, the value of the option rises. So now, the options contract is further in the money, and the premium actually rises to $3 or to 35 cents per bushel. We wind up having a 15 cents per bushel gain in the options contract. So let's look at what is happening here. So we sell at the cash price of $3.15. Remember, we have to sell in that corn at the local market for $3.15. Meanwhile, we sell that options contract at $3.50 per bushel. We're going to go ahead and sell that contract. We originally purchased that put option at that strike price of $3.50. We're going to go ahead and sell it and we're going to sell it at a price of 35 cents. Remember, we bought that contract at 20 cents. We sell it at 35 cents. So we receive a gain of 15 cents per bushel. So what are we going to do with that 15 cents per bushel gain? We're going to add it on to that cash price at which we're selling at. So we sold it at a cash price of $3.15. We received a 15-cent gain in the options, and our overall selling price is $3.30. Now, the current cash we could have bought, or we could have sold it, a few months ago for $3.35, or maybe it wasn't produced yet. We couldn't have sold it at that price. We tried to lock in this price, but we only got to this price. We didn't quite lock in our price at $3.35, but this $3.30 is a heck of a lot better than selling it at $3.15. So let's look at it now, but what if prices increase? What if our futures prices increase? What is that going to do to the value of the option? Well, if you remember from way up here, it's going to decrease the value of that put option because the futures prices are inversely related. So the cash prices, let's say that the cash prices increased to $3.60 and the futures prices increased to $3.65. Well, originally, remember that the strike price of this options, because this is all the same example, only now the prices go up. The strike price of that option was $3.50 for this put option. Now that prices increased to, the futures prices increased to $3.65, we're out of the money, ladies and gentlemen. That option is now out of the money. And because it's out of the money, that contract is not worth as much. Now it's only worth 5 cents per bushel. So we actually lose 5 cents per bushel in the options contract. But we had a gain of 60 cents in the cash market. So what do? We wind up selling that commodity at a cash price of $3.60. We add in our 15 cents loss in the options, and we wind up with a net selling price of $3.45. So essentially, that's how it's going to be working with an options contract. We're buying and selling those options contracts. And if we make money in the options contract, like we did in this example up here, then we're going to add that to our selling price. But if we lose money in the options contract, we're actually going to add that loss to our selling price, and because it's going to be a negative, because it's a loss, it's actually going to deduct from our selling price. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, whenever you're working through this, remember that a put option is an option, is the option that we're going to use for selling a commodity for those outputs, because that put option is going to lock in, or it gives. So what we need to keep in mind, some of the key points out of this particular lesson, was that whenever we are dealing with a put option, that the put option is inversely related. The value of the put option is inversely related to the change in the futures price. Meaning if futures prices go up, the value of that put option is going to go down. But hopefully if the futures prices are going up, we're making up for that loss in the futures market, or sorry, in the loss in the options market by a gain in the cash. But if the prices of the futures go down, for example, and we're losing money in the cash, the value of the option is going to be going up, and we make up for that loss in the cash with the gain in the futures.